All right, I am back with Nathaniel Butler. What's up, Nathaniel? How you doing?
Great, man. I can't complain. I'm just so happy and excited to be here with you again, man.
Hey, listen, it's a delight to have you as well. We're going live here on YouTube. And for those of you guys who are following us for the very first time, I would love for you to do me a favor and subscribe to this channel. Every day, we're trying to provide you with quality content that will help you to excel and advance in your life. You're nothing short of greatness in the making, and you just got to discover the principles necessary to winning. Nathaniel, I wanted to take a few minutes to talk to you. We're in a global pandemic. The Bahamas
Mhm.
government declared something yesterday. If you want to take a minute and tell us what's going on there in the Bahamas, I know the Prime Minister had a news briefing with the country. What's going on in the Bahamas?
So basically, we're now trying to position ourselves really to open up within the country. However, as we get closer to a Bahamian holiday, which is going to be this coming Monday, the government saw fit or best for us to go into a an additional lockdown. Um, Reason being because of the numbers. The numbers of cases are dramatically increasing, especially in the island of New Providence and also in the island of Grand Bahama. And as a result of that, that has serious effects on the business community and more importantly, the economics here in the Bahamas.
Now, with the country having been shut down for a while, you know, when I wanted to talk to you because you're the financial guy, you're the financial guru, you're the guy who people come to and ask questions about, money. There's a lot of things happening and the country shutting down like this. Let's talk about the average individual watching this. What comes to mind as to responding appropriately to this shutdown? What is a few things that you would say come to mind that will help our listeners get past this weekend, but also start thinking more strategically about their money and the season we're in?
Great question. So I would like to categorize persons into three groups. You have three different groups, which will have three different responses. So you have one group for this is the most they have ever saved in their life because we're constantly going in and out of lockdowns. They didn't have the opportunity to spend the type of money that they would normally spend. And I'm talking about casual spending on food, casual spending on shopping, et cetera, et cetera. So
Yep.
now they still have an income. The income has not been touched in the midst of this. And they are in a position where they're saving. So in some cases, they are not property owners. In some cases, are in a lot of cases, they are not persons who have large expenses. They might be living with someone. So I would say for those individuals, especially as we go into this lockdown, it has already been revealed that property prices, real estate prices, they're going to take a hit. They're going to take about almost a 20% decrease in their value. So we're entering in what we call a buyer's market. So this is the prime time to start to look around. You don't have to make the transaction right now, but
Yep.
this is prime time to look around to see what type of real estate transactions you want to participate or buy or get yourself into. In addition to that, this is also a good time as well for individuals who are looking to get things on a discount. There are a number of businesses for sale. There are a number of items that people are trying to sell during this time, just as a means to generate some cash flow or generate some money or generate some extra money to take care of expenses. So for this group of persons who have like the savings is just tremendous, this is the perfect time now to hit your goals, get your emergency fund sorted out first, and to start looking around to acquire new assets. Now, for the second group, this is a group that, for the most part, their income has not been affected, but their work life has dramatically been affected. Their expenses have definitely increased. So, for example, I'm talking about the parent a person who may be working for our largest employer here in the Bahamas, which is the Bahamas government. But now your child is home now. They're being homeschooled now. So consumption levels at home are up. electricity costs, everything, because they're home and they're utilizing all the things that are at home. And so you find yourself constantly having to go to the food store more often than not. In addition to that, there was some expenses in regards to buying certain equipment at the beginning of the school year to accommodate their learning experience, and even just paying for tuition. So here lies this group. In some cases, I would refer to as the sandwich group, because not only you're taking care of your household, but in most cases you're taking care of other households, family and friends and extra communities. It has been revealed that here in the Bahamas in the last several months, from May all the way up to August, that there are a lot of families who are relying on their counterparts to help them get through or to help them get by as we were coming in and going out of uh, lock, the lockdown period. So for this group, I would say you have to watch your expenses. You have to watch your expenses. You cannot overcommit yourself and your resources to the needs that are around you. We have to first take care of our home, making sure our shelter, our food, our grocery, our transportation, all of these costs are taken care of first. Our primary costs are taken care of first before we overextend ourselves or extend ourselves to others within the community, to other family members as well. And then we have this last group, and this is the more troubling group for me. You have those who are hotel workers. As you know, Ricardo, the hotel industry here in the Bahamas is our number one industry. Our economy is heavily reliant on tourism. Matter of fact, it's recorded from March all the way down to August. We are missing over $1 billion in our economy what tourism would have injected to us. So now you have to take into consideration our largest employer in the hotel industry hires about 5,000 persons. The second largest, 4,000 persons. And you have to take in consideration the Bahamas only has a population size of close to about 400,000. So these are very big numbers.
Yep.
These hotel workers have not seen work since March. Yes, they have been on government assistance. And due to the fact that the industry has been closed for so long, even the government assistance that they've been receiving has now been reduced just so that we can ensure the longevity of the program.
Yep.
As you know, there's not a whole lot of revenue from a taxation standpoint that is coming in because most of our taxes are centered around consumption. So with that being said, for the hotel workers, you have two groups. One group that is advocating for their redundancy package, and then you have another group that is just sitting back waiting and trying to find ways to keep themselves afloat, dealing with their daily expenses. So I would say, let me attack the first group. So for the first group that is waiting for the redundancy, I would advocate for them that whatever form of employment, whatever type of business side hustle that they're going to engage themselves in, do it now before you get the money. Because in a lot of times, when you look at Bahamian culture and habits and just financial behavior, the financial behavior science of it all, you'll find that most Bahamians, for the most part, would really don't have that discipline to take that large sum of money and spend it in no time and cannot give an account of where the money is spent. So it doesn't really help them. You find that it will hurt them more in the long run. The second thing is that these same individuals who are advocating for the package, these are persons with mortgages. These are persons who are renting or they're renters, and it's not a comfortable feeling when you have to go to your home and you know that you're more than 3 months behind or possibly more than 3 months behind in rent.
Yep.
So I would say to those individuals, no, this is the time now. We have to tap into our gifts, talents, and abilities to find out what value we can bring to generate money in the midst of this. Because once you get that money, you have to remember now that door of employment is not going to be there no more. And with the large influx of persons trying to be employed here in the Bahamas, and the employment market is only yay big, this is the now time for us to start focusing our talents and abilities online. Let's get into the gig economy. Let's get into organizing ourselves to tackle other markets that are out there. And last but not least, you have the group that is patiently waiting until the hotels open. I would say for them, you be active, be productive with your time. Sharpen your skills. If you're going back to the hotel, what free courses and paid courses. And some of the hotels, from my knowledge, have offered even paid courses to their staff during this time. What can you do to enhance yourself to be ready when the doors are open? Because what's going to happen is more is going to be demanded for less. But if we steward and manage that right, what will happen is you'll find yourself being in a position that you can be elevated or promoted to the next level. Yeah, so I'm excited. I'm excited. But like I said, those are the three groups that we're faced with here in the Bahamas. My heart goes out for those families that have family members who are contracted by the COVID-19 virus. And you just have to stay safe. You just have to stay indoors, follow the health protocols, and do as much as we can with the with the gifts, talents, and abilities that we have within the law. Within the law, most importantly. I think, Ricardo, the greatest challenge is too, a lot of persons have already burned out their savings. So we can't harp on persons having savings. A lot of persons have even exhaust probably even some family and friends. Most persons are relying very heavily on social services and social programming. It was recorded that over 100,000 persons are patronizing either the social assistance in regards to the check or the food program. So that's almost 1/4 of the population. And that's serious numbers, man. That's serious numbers. And then on top of that, we also have to take into consideration that some of our microeconomies here in the Bahamas are still in the process of where they're trying to recover. Abaco was just 1 year removed being hit by a Category 5, Dorian, and a part of Grand Bahama as well. Grand Bahama over the last several decades, in the last several years within this decade, have not been the same from an economic standpoint. They have lost a lot of business. A lot of companies have shut down in Grand Bahama. And then you kind of matriculate over to some of the other family islands that have also gotten a hit because the second homeowners and also those who partake in coming to the Bahamas to reside on our family islands from a tourism standpoint, many of them have had some challenges and some difficulties coming to the Bahamas because the air flight arrivals are down, cruise ships are down during this time. And so a lot of these economies, these other islands that most of their economy is based off of tourism, they've been grossly, dramatically affected. So you have a lot of persons that are in a position where they're trying to find a way just to stay afloat, Ricardo. They're just trying to stay afloat.
That is so interesting. Interesting that you said that, man. Good stuff. Thank you very much for sharing that. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Nathaniel Butler. This guy, you just heard him break it down just there. No matter where you are, there's a lot that you can look at. Some of you guys are at a financial position that this is a good time for you to make an investment. This is a good time for you to buy a company. This is a good time for you to make a strategic move that's going to bring you out on top, in spite of what's going on in the country, that being the Bahamas. However, there are also those of you who know you don't have any savings, know that if the government were to push the hotel industry or the major resorts to give you that final buyout per se, you could find yourself in 3 to 6 months when this thing eventually turned out of employment. And so you have to start looking at what would happen if 6 months the resorts open back up, and before you would have had a short job, but you weren't able to sit out and hold your fort, hold yourself and your family for 3 to 6 months. And so as we bring this to a close, I really wanted to share this with you because there are a lot of people that are coming to my YouTube channel now, Nathaniel, interested in hearing how can I live life effectively. And having seen what's happening in the Bahamas and around the world, I wanted to talk about money and something that would trigger a thought in the lives of those that are following my effective living platform. Just a last question as we bring this to a close. For the person who feels as though their back is against the wall and they're struggling with how do I make it now because I'm now having to go on the food line. I'm now having to go to social services every other week to try to see if I can get a check. What would you suggest for that person that feels as though they're at the very, very bottom of the totem pole in relations to providing and moving forward with their lives in this pandemic?
Well, to be honest with you, I'll tell you off the top, it's not a very comfortable feeling.
Yeah,
I always reflect back on the time when I went to Abaco with a few persons and we carried no food.
yeah,
And during all that vigorous labor, hard labor, we all were hungry and there wasn't a restaurant or food store that was available. It was total devastation. And so the first time in my life, I had to go on a
yeah.
food line.
Wow.
And so the first thing I would tell the person is one, this is seasonal.
Yep.
This is seasonal. This season will come to an end.
Yep.
Now, with point number one, when you look at point number two, we can still be productive in this season.
Yep.
Though this is seasonal, we can still be productive in the season. What I mean by that is if we have to go on the food line, if we have to get the social assistance for our family, then we need to do these things to make sure our family can stay ahead.
Yep.
And then the last and most important thing is now in the midst of this, what can I do extra? What can I do more of? What can I do that has value that people will patronize and I can generate a little bit more income to provide a little bit more comfort or a better lifestyle for my family? And I think that's really what it comes down to. We are very good, what I call problemologists. We can see problems from a mile away,
I like that term.
using that skill just to see whether or not there's a market that
Yep.
is willing to pay,
Yep.
and you provide whether it's information product or a service that is valuable, then you can start the process. It's not a full-fledged business,
Yep.
but I would consider it more of a hustle. And as long as you're able to keep the objective of providing for your family in sight, you'll
Yep.
find that you have more than enough motivation to make it work, to make it work. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
And I'll be honest with you, this is the time, I'm going to be honest with you, Ricardo, when this is over, a lot of persons are going to transition.
Yep.
The entire nation and many nations around the world will be in transition. Persons who had very nice jobs prior to the pandemic, because of what they had to go through, some things they discover about themselves, some new markets they discover that is available, they're going to make a transition. They're going to realize, so you know what, this makes more sense for me now. Others who may not have had a cozy job may now, because of increasing their skill set, will be now more employable during
Yep.
this time. So it's a transition, and so it's all about, like I said, it's seasonal, but we got to make the most of the season.
Nice. It is seasonal and we have to make the most of the season. My closing thought is for you, you can still plan strategically in the midst of a pandemic. And that's be it. You have to go to social services, draw up a plan so you can find what's the best day to go to social services. What's the best time to go to social services? What's the best time to go to the grocery store? Listen, you fill your car up one day and then you now need to calculate how long am I going to need to use this car? So I don't need to just go drive by my homeboy. I just don't need to go and check out a friend. Everything has to be looked at in relations to pulling back. You got grocery assistance. Maybe you need to draw up a plan on how I'm going to stretch this groceries for the long haul. Then I also need to strategically look at what Nathaniel mentioned. How can I make a little something on the side? Okay, some things got to get cut back. And then also I need to still figure out how I can make something that will help me while I'm in this position. I like what you said, Nathaniel. This is not going to last forever. There are a lot of people who fail to understand this is a season. And if you keep doing dumb things in a season that is a bad season, you could find yourself in a prolonged season.
Oh yeah.
You could find yourself in a prolonged season. So what you want to do is you want to use wisdom in the midst of this pandemic to ensure that you make this pandemic last as short lived for you and your household as much as possible, because some people are going to come out of this thing faster than others because they were strategic. You got anything you want to close as we bring that thought to mind?
At this time, you got to put your dignity and self-worth, you got to put that on the back burner.
Yep.
There are some people who are going to make you feel inferior in this season. There are going to be some people who are going to make you feel not like yourself in this season. Some people are going to even make you feel like you have no value and worth in this season. I would say at this time is when you become tune deaf to the haters, tune deaf to the persons who are misunderstanding your purpose and your value, and just become blind to all of the naysayers. Because at this time, this is the most defining moment of your life.
Yes.
This is the moment where you will discover the inner strength that is within you. You will discover your talents, your gifts, your abilities, and more importantly, how to showcase your value and your influence, man. So don't miss out, capitalize on it, and remember, it's only a season. It is
It's
only a
on.
season.
Thank you, Nathaniel Butler. Thank you for all that you're doing. Man, the presentation, what you just shared in a few minutes was so loaded. I would highly suggest those of you that are watching, look at where you are in the midst of the different positions that Nathaniel mentioned, and then strategically align yourself with the healthiest of practice to ensure that you can come out of this thing with the victory. I'm Coach Ricardo Miller. That's Nathaniel Butler. How can people get a hold of you, Nathaniel?
So you can visit me on my website, which is drupalsolutions.com. We're also at Drupal Speaks. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and even LinkedIn as well. I'm very excited. If you want to reach out to us by telephone contact, it's 242 420 8025. 242 8025.
That's what's up, man. Thank you very much, Nathaniel. Ladies and gentlemen, share a comment below. What was the most impressive point that really stood out to you that Nathaniel shared during this brief talk? Remind yourself, you and your money has to be looked at constantly. You and your money has to be looked at constantly. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.